Hello. Welcome to Coping with Donald. I'm Phil. 25 subscribers. I'm really proud of that. I know everybody's coming on now and saying, oh, we don't get monetized the way we used to. In a way, I think that's a good thing. I think there were too many people racing around the world and, pretending they were all that. And you really shouldn't make a living off of this, to be honest with you. But I just do it for fun and to connect with a few people here and there. I do it for myself. And that's why I do it. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things that have been coming out recently this week. And obviously there's so much going on, it's almost impossible to keep track of it. But it's Donald Trump's strange descent into fascism and a little bit of socialism at the same time. And I'll explain that. It's kind of interesting. Really, very interesting. I think the only reason he's delving into a little bit of socialism is because he is so desperate to get the talk off of some of the other things that he's done and that have happened recently. All negative. The ICE shooting, the Venezuela invasion, of course, the ongoing Epstein Files investigation. And it's funny because a lot of times he'll do these things to get attention off of negative events, and yet sometimes what he does is a negative event. I want to ask a question for all the people out there. Donald Trump, as you're aware, is ordering via one of his presidential decrees or proclamations, or whatever you call those things, executive orders, whatever you want to call it. He wants all credit cards to be down to 10% for a year. Now, I'm glad. Great. I don't have a problem with that. One thing that might happen from that is that credit cards will pull back their offers, will continue to, will in essence not allow for new credit cards to be issued unless you've got really good credit. So I guess people that don't get the credit cards could go to payday loans or something like that, and they're still paying 30% interest or 20% interest, whatever it is. But I still think it's a good thing. 10% is high enough when you're actually lowering interest rates at the Fed, which Donald Trump now has done a very negative thing by investigating Jerome Powell, a person he just doesn't like, that he couldn't get rid of. And I think that bothers him more than anything. I couldn't get rid of him. I'm not all omnipotent. But I'm in favor of 10% credit card rates. I presently only have one credit card. Two, actually. I have a store credit card. I wonder what that's going to do to store credit cards. They're always like 25 to 30%. But anyway, my one credit card is with Capital One. Capital One stock is down 7% today. That man really can move markets up or down, Donald Trump, by what he decrees. And he doubled down today saying, oh, there's going to be penalties if you don't do this by such and such a date. So that is socialism, guys. When government steps in, well, socialism is also about taking over private industry, but when government steps in and tells an industry what to do, that is not capitalism. We're not talking about like a safety rule or something. We're talking about what they can charge. And, I'm fine with it. And I don't benefit from it. because it's going to benefit a lot of people who are really on the ropes right now. But those people who are on the ropes, I want to ask you a question. Last year, when, although probably the people who were supporting this were, they don't have high interest credit cards. But remember the backlash when the student loans? Now the student loans have to be paid back. I think it was 5 days ago that happened. Today is January 12th, 2026. And the student loans have to be paid back. And of course, some people were like, I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. And other people are saying you shouldn't have taken the loans. You shouldn't have gone to school. You shouldn't have whatever. You have to pay it back. You owe it. I wonder how many of them have credit card rates that were higher than 10%. And now we're all happy about this. Because that's a conflict of opinion, really. Are all the school loans below 10%? Because I have a feeling some aren't. Either way, it is a breach of government non-interference in the free market economy. Another one is, in essence, Donald Trump's move on Venezuela, very, very fascist, not consulting Congress, and then telling the oil companies, we want you to go in there and take out all the oil. They're telling the oil companies what to do. Apparently, ExxonMobil isn't too thrilled with it, and so Trump is now down on ExxonMobil. Trump says he's going to take U.S. tax dollars and reimburse all these companies for their investments, which is spending money Congress hasn't approved as well. So Donald Trump's little telling companies what to do and how to run their businesses is very unlike the Republican Party. So we'll see how they react to that. So anybody who just blindly supports Trump, think about it. Now, this credit card thing will only last for probably a year, okay? And like I said, he just wants to get the Republican Congress reelected, I'm sure. People might feel, hey, the economy is better because my interest rate's only 10% of my credit card. It's a cheap way of trying to influence elections. It's not so cheap, really, not for the credit card companies. But please, think about your actual political beliefs. If you're a free market capitalist, yeah, okay. But don't say that this is a free market capitalist move. Because it's not. If Joe Biden did this, Fox News would appear on your TV upside down. Okay? So think of the word Fox upside down. The broadcasters all appearing to be hanging off the ceiling. They still called Joe Biden a socialist. He didn't do this. All right? So when you throw around labels, think hard about the labels that you're throwing around. And I know, I throw them around too. Fascist, racist, I do it. But I also try not to applaud fascist and racist things. In fact, I don't think I have. All right? That's shortened Coping with Donald. Everybody have a good day.